what their countries are doing. This was the case of Malawi, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. We also had an amazing panel on men as allies. We also had a demonstration by amazing students that showed us how our information can be hacked, and they implored on us that we need to be safe while we are online. Today, our agenda item is also going to be exciting. For our first presentation, we are going to talk on cyber hygiene. I know this has been touched on throughout the conference, but today is the day that we finally get to talk about it in detail. Our first presenter is Mr. Mlenga. Mr. Mlenga is a lawyer by profession, but he's working with the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, and he's heading the Consumer Affairs Unit. Mr. Mlenga has vast experience in drafting, and he has also been instrumental in the development of our various digital laws. Toko yesterday had pointed out that as Malawi, we are in the process of developing almost 5 or 6 new digital laws, and Mr. Mlenga is part of this task force that is developing these digital laws. He's also very passionate about cyber hygiene issues, and he has conducted several awareness campaigns to try to raise awareness from the legal perspective as well as from the consumer perspective. Allow me to invite Mr. Mlenga to take the floor. A hand for Mr. Mlenga, please.
All protocols observed. As rightly introduced by Lemegezani, I'm Kerias Mlenga, working with the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority. I'm a lawyer, and I head the Consumer Affairs Unit. Basically, it's a unit that is responsible for protecting the rights of the users of ICTs in Malawi. We do this through various means. Awareness is number one. And number two, sometimes we recommend systems as well as legislative interventions. Throughout the conference, you have held several aspects of cyber security. Today, we are going to look at the awareness, your awareness in the cyberspace. So, how can you develop a culture of cybersecurity? I've therefore titled my presentation, Cyber Hygiene, 5 Pertinent Questions. By the time we leave this session, you should be able to give answers to the questions. What are these questions? What is cyber hygiene? You should be able to explain what it entails. Who is supposed to practice cyber hygiene? You should be able to know who. Is it maybe staff from IT department, or is it systems administrators, or are they your teachers of the law, for teachers of the ICT, for those who are in universities? Is it our learned judges who are supposed to practice this? Let's focus, get focused, and see who is supposed to practice this. And when is it supposed to be practiced? Is it only when you're at work, or maybe, is it at home? Is it at church? Is it when you're walking, or is it when you're singing? Is it when you're in the bathroom, or what? Where should it be practiced? And when? Why do we need to practice cyber hygiene? I will try to link issues of cyber hygiene and issues of trending issues of fake news, as well as online fraud, which has also bothered Malawi for some time. And most of the countries, as Togo highlighted the past on the first day. Lastly, it will be how is it supposed to be practiced. I'll also make attempts to link it with the two vices that I'm going to emphasize on as examples of being victimized for not being cyber smart. So that's how the outline is going to flow. In terms of cyber hygiene, we all know what is to practice hygiene entails. In the morning, we have all gone to shower, we have taken a shower, we have applied our favorite, maybe roll-on, perfume, etc., lotion to your body. You want to look smart. You want to look hygiene. So the same applies when you are in the cyberspace. I will not dwell much. I think Exile Njoga on the first day highlighted the three cornerstones of cybersecurity. He mentioned integrity, he mentioned confidentiality, he mentioned availability, if you recall. So for all these cornerstones to be fulfilled, there is need for us to be healthy, to have well-being when you are accessing the cyberspace, when you're using the cyberspace. So it's like your wellness. When you are sick, you go to a clinic. And sometimes, even without being sick, you go for a checkup just to ensure that you are healthy. By the time maybe some diseases were supposed to attack you, you have already proactively attacked them. You heard from Ella, she mentioned, and Tim, that issues of cybersecurity, they are dealt with proactively and sometimes reactively. Proactively in the sense that you don't wait for the trigger to happen for you to take action. Reactively in the sense that you wait for the trigger, then you react according to what has triggered, what has caused the trigger to address the problem. So with cyber hygiene, it's also the same. With human hygiene, it's also the same. With human health, sometimes you go for checkup in advance. Sometimes you wait to be sick, to be seen by a doctor. So cyber hygiene, there are steps or measures. There is no single definition I should highlight, but these are steps, measures, and sometimes there can be rules and regulations and practices that users of computers and other devices need to take in order to improve online security and maintain systems, maintain networks, and maintain the health of data. So there are three things. Users of computer systems, they have to maintain security and safety of systems, networks, and data. So this can be hardware, this can be software. So there are also steps to proactively adopt measures or sometimes even mindset or habits for mitigating the potential online breaches. Because of the mindset issue, there is need to train oneself in good habits around cybersecurity in order to stay ahead. You should compare this with personal hygiene. Like I've explained already, that sometimes you take precautionary measures and sometimes you regularly visit health practitioners to ensure your well-being is maintained at all time. So who has to practice cyber hygiene? Cyber hygiene is supposed to be practiced by, one, computer users. As long as you use a computer, you are supposed to practice cyber hygiene. So when you say computer, it's not just the laptop and desktops. Even the machines that we are holding in our hands, the phone itself, that's a computer system. So the tablets that we're using every day, the iPads, these are also classified as computer systems. So any user of a computer system is supposed to practice cyber hygiene. Secondary, systems or network administrators in our various institutions, we have people who are designated to manage the systems, which we call them administrators or whether systems or network administrators, by whatever nomenclature you can choose. It's also supposed to be practiced by security practitioners. So when you say security practitioners, we are talking of cyber security practitioners. Organizations that store, process, and use data are also supposed to practice cyber hygiene. The reason the Data Protection Act, which was passed last year on 7 December, that's 2023, one of the main thrusts of that law is that it should provide a framework for protection of personal data when it's being processed by third parties. So it has issues of consent when your personal information has to be processed, stored, or secreted. So those organizations that store that information are supposed to practice cyber hygiene. So you're talking of maybe hospitals, schools, even churches, and all those institutions where we submit our information, our personal information, like name, age, place of origin, where you're working, your parents' permanent home address, etc. So all those are supposed to practice cyber hygiene as well. So everyone responsible for cyber hygiene, everyone has to be responsible. It's not only the IT personnel. For those who are employed, they may think that this is something to be done by IT department, not legal department as I work. But with cyber security, as it has been highlighted the past 2 days, this is like a shared responsibility. There is no need to limit or narrow yourself to say this is for people who work in ICTs. So in terms of who practices, you can see that everyone here is supposed to practice cyber hygiene, because I believe each of us has got a handset, a phone, which is a form of a computer system. Then when do you need to practice it? You need to do it regularly. Just as a person healthy, you need to practice cyber hygiene regularly, routinely, make it as a habit, and you should repeatedly. Don't get tired to say, I've already practiced cyber hygiene yesterday, today I think I'm free. Like what you do when you submit an assignment in college. You say, this is my time to sow freely without any burden. So with cyber hygiene, it's something that you have to tirelessly, unwaveringly do it. So do it repeatedly, don't get tired. It is at the very heart, at the center of cyber security. Because you can talk of good laws, you can talk of good law enforcement authorities, but if you don't practice it yourself, if you don't have a proper mindset of cyber hygiene, if you don't do what you are supposed to do in terms of managing passwords, for example, then the good laws are not going to, you are not going to benefit from the goodness of the law. So practice it every day, every time, every second, every minute, 24/7. Why do we need to practice it? One, to avoid loss of information. Remember, cybersecurity deals with data that is stored in your computer, your phone. 2 days ago, Mr. Njoga emphasized on the importance of keeping information safe. Sometimes delete the information that you don't need at a particular time, because sometimes it can leak. So if you are not practicing those tips that were given, then you lose that information. That information can be it can be detrimental. That loss can be detrimental to you, and sometimes even psychologically you can be affected, because maybe your personal, your private information is in the public. You can also lose property. We've been hearing about loss of money through mobile money fraud. There are online scammers. This did not start today. They started a long time ago. I remember when I was in college, colleagues received an invitation to attend a conference which was organized by JLO. So these guys did not have passports. They had to organize, look at a person who was linked to the then head of immigration. A letter was written by the dean of students to immigration headquarters. Please facilitate production of passports for these people. So one of them ended up checking on the website, US website, US embassy website, to check, because they thought that if it's being organized by them, at least they'll talk about it in relation to the country. So the moment they checked, they saw that this was fake. But by that time, money was already lost, a passport was already produced, and transport was lost from Chancellor College Zomba to immigration headquarters in Blantyre. So, and even the expectation, you know, when you know that you are going to states, you start investing in the trip. So even that expectation ended up creating a frustration. So as you can see, psychologically going to be affected. Now you're in school, the focus on assignments or tests is no longer there, and you have also lost some money or some funds, or sometimes even property. So these scammers have been there. They're just changing the way of doing things. Now, because of mobile phone penetration, they're using that platform as a means to steal from people. So if you don't practice cyber hygiene, you can lose property, you can lose funds, you can even lose your life, and you can even end in jail. I'll give an example. 2 days ago, I was reading an article that a certain woman, 19 years old, was arrested by police after killing a 10-year-old child. This happened here in Lilongwe, capital city of Malawi, and I think it's in Siriza or Tandile. It's one of some areas, almost the area 47, where someone was chatting, the girl was chatting with an unknown person on Facebook. They started dating without knowing each other. They started sending each other nudes. And when the nudes had reached a certain threshold, the guy started demanding like a ransom, started demanding strange things. Can you please send money? So the girl had to send. Can you please, if you want to get rich, can you do ABCD? Can you kill a child who is less than 15 years old? So this lady took a neighbor's child, took her to a lodge somewhere, and stabbed the child 10 times. And as we're talking, the child is dead, and the woman has been caught. It happened 2 days ago. While this conference was still in session. You can check online. It happened here in Lilongwe. So why am I citing this example? You see that because someone trusted a person who he did not know online, they ended up doing wrong things. Firstly, sending off the nudes in itself is prohibited by law. Electronic Transaction and Cyber Security Act, Section 85 prohibits sending of pornographic material. Secondly, this woman exposed herself to blackmail, like cyber extortion, and ended up losing money to cool down the spirits of the person who was doing the extortion. And lastly, I should not say last but not least, a life was lost. And lastly, she's facing prosecution. So the future is like gone. As you can see, a single mistake of chatting with a person who she didn't know. They were dating without dating. Because dating, you have to physically meet. You can't be dating people online, and that's all. You have to physically meet, show each other affection, take each other out, and so on and so forth. You can't expect to be dating someone who you do not know. So there is this tendency of just befriending people who you don't know merely because it's on digital platform. If you are walking on the road, if you see me, you have never seen me, I don't think you greet me. But now that you have seen me, you'll be able to say, Mr. Mleng, hi, I think you met that women and girls in cyber. It ends there. But with digital platform, I don't know where the excitement comes from. You end up befriending someone who is not your friend, which is an oxymoron, like a contradiction in its own. You're supposed to have a friend who you should be able to chat with, especially you young girls. They end up grooming you. In the end, sometimes they can even do child trafficking. Now child trafficking, now it has extended even to girls trafficking, because children 18, but now even above 18, they're being taken to Oman, they're being taken to, where the other area? Saudi Arabia, and other countries where they're being sexually exploited. And sometimes your passport is taken away from you, and in the end, you start crying for government's help. But it's a thing which we can avoid if we are cyber smart. We are practicing cyber hygiene. So these are just a few examples. Another reason why we need to practice this is because we need to avoid identity theft. Identity theft is about taking your identity, pretending to be you, and someone acting like you. The issue does not end there, but it gets worse when something maybe illegal has been done. That's when people come to you to say, Mr. Mlenga, this is your passport, this is your ID, you have acted this way in UK, so we are looking for you, only to discover that Mr. Mlenga is still in Malawi. So let us be careful on what we post, because most of the times we get excited. Everything that we do, we post online. We post online. In the end, people steal maybe our pictures and pretend to be us and start scamming people in inbox, start receiving transport without even coming. Men, you know this. Then there are also online sex predators. For girls, this is goes on. Let's avoid this, because they start with grooming, they entice you with something good. In the end, let's meet physically. You end up meeting them. There are so many things that they can do: sexual abuse and even trafficking, and even they can harm you or do the rituals that that woman wanted to do for. That woman has done with the child, and now she's on the verge of facing jail. You can also practice this to avoid phishing attacks or social engineering. Phishing attacks, this is where you receive maybe emails like spams. They come to your inbox just to steal information from you. That information, they end up using it as if they are legitimate users or legitimate people to use that information. So to avoid this, let us avoid maybe opening emails that we don't know, opening links that we don't know. If you don't expect an email from me and you have seen it, think twice. So as we proceed, I'll show you the tips on how to survive this. So to avoid social engineering as well, social engineering has been featuring highly, especially in mobile money fraud. We'll dwell much on it as we proceed. Mobile security and smartphone vulnerability is also another reason why we need to practice cyber hygiene. So the reasons are diverse. You avoid legal costs, you avoid systems hacking, you can also avoid threatening of national security, economy and social well-being. Remember, we talked about CII. CII is a critical information infrastructure. So if infrastructure is holding critical information, it means it's something that is very important. That is very important for the nation's security or the economy or social being of Malawians. In the event that that information has leaked or that information has been hacked, we gave an example of immigration, I think 2 days ago. The well-being of Malawians do suffer. And sometimes as a business person, some of us are in business here, you avoid confidence, because the moment they hear that this bank has been hacked, people will grow jittery. They'll think twice whether to put their money in that bank or to give their information to that institution because of maybe the leakages. So we also practice this to avoid fines in other jurisdictions, like in Europe. Non-compliance with data protection standards under the General Data Protection Regulation attracts hefty fines. In the E-Transactions Act, unauthorized access, for example, is punishable by 15 years imprisonment and with various fines attached to them. I just gave an example that you can also be subjected to criminal sanctions if you do not practice cyber hygiene. So how is it practiced? The list is non-exhaustive. You can choose which one fits you, but I'll just highlight a few. Avoid sharing personal data on the internet, including physical addresses, date of birth, as well as place of origin. We should also avoid adding friends who are strangers. This one I emphasized. So there are so many platforms: Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, now there is X. It used to be Twitter. If they are not your friends, don't interface with them. What are you going to discuss? People who are not working together cannot think together. So let us avoid this. Don't make it lighter merely because you are doing it online. Don't converse with them. Don't add them as friends. Also avoid posting sensitive pictures of yourself and others online. Because those things, if you post them today, they will live forever. There is a saying in the internet world that internet doesn't forget. And for you as young children, what will happen is we talk about you as future of tomorrow. You do something silly today, you post it, maybe in 24 years you want to become a member of parliament, or maybe they're about to appoint you as a minister. So haters will always be there. And they'll bring that one as something to prevent you from doing that. Let's say you're doing campaign, they'll just, this one, in 2024, this is what she did. But they just spread the picture, and you have lost an opportunity, and you're going to be traumatized. And by that time, maybe you have children. It means even your children will be traumatized. Your parents will be traumatized. So let us ensure that our sensitive information is not posted everywhere, anywhere. Let us keep it for ourselves. Making negative comments online, we should also avoid. So it's not like every post that you see online that you are supposed to comment on. Sometimes you just need to keep quiet, just peep and move on. Because you end up commenting negatively, these things can backfire to you. It can also end up in maybe defamation suits. Defamation, this is like character assassination, where you're going to be dragged to court for doing defaming others, and you can pay hefty fines. You can pay hefty compensation. You should also avoid clicking or opening links or emails from unreliable sources. I think the rule is if you see a link maybe on Facebook, you see a link on WhatsApp, National Bank is doing this promotion ABCD. Sometimes on the face of it, you can tell that this is fake. But from technical front, you should always check for links that do start with, after HTTP, there should be an S. So that S signifies security. It means this link is secure. Okay? So if it doesn't have that S, never open it, just delete and move on. But also be extra careful, because even these fraudsters, sometimes the scammers, they can also do something. They can scam you through a safe, a secured link. Okay? Because sometimes it's the conversation that ensues from that link that matters. It's not just the link itself. So let us avoid clicking links that we don't know about, or we are not sure about their reliability. We should always use strong passwords. This should include words, characters, uppercases, lowercases, and numbers. Also the password, your date of birth, that's your password. If you have them, please change after this session. You should put something else. Maybe you can take the first letter of your daddy's name, the second letter of your mom's name, and maybe you do something that will not be easy. Put a figure, an asterisk, or exclamation mark. Mix these things, then in so doing, you'll be safer. The good thing with computers of today, when you are creating a password, they even guide you to say, I think you are still weak, a bit stronger, this is too strong. So let us always follow what is happening on our machines. So how do we practice it further? You should change your passwords. The fact that you have created a password, it doesn't mean that you should have it for 10 years. You should change them frequently, because sometimes these machines, they do observe. They can put softwares to be observing how you are logging in. So after some time, they start knowing your pattern of login. So change them frequently. Or sometimes people can peep, you know, giraffing. You can peep, this is how Lemegezan logs in. Then you just steal the password and her information will not be safe. You should also avoid sharing your password to social media accounts with friends. Never. This is typical of girls. You like sharing passwords to say, can you enter into my Facebook account message? And you forget. So someone can misbehave with your information and you end up facing prosecution and even getting embarrassed socially. You should be responsible on what you should post, and you shall be held accountable. If you post something online, know that you are personally responsible, just as you can be responsible physically. Because people think that online is where anything happens. What you cannot do offline, never do it online. If you can't post your nudes offline, if you can't walk naked, don't post your nudes online merely because it's something that is possible. If you can't use bitter words against someone physically like this. Don't take it lightly merely because you are doing it online. So you're going to be responsible. On this one, I would like to highlight the issue of fake news. Sometimes we receive information, we just share it. Let us make sure we verify with the reliable sources, not just sharing it, because it may end up in criminal circles, and sometimes it can lead into defamation suits. These suits, they look simple when you're just talking about them, but people do go bankrupt merely because they've been sued. I think we have judges here, maybe they can add. People can go bankrupt merely because they are failing to pay compensation for a legal suit. You should also verify requests for private information. If someone is asking for your private information, make sure you verify with an independent body. If they're talking about Ntugulabakomo, Ntugulabakomo, for example, is being implemented by Ministry of Gender, Community Service, and the Children. Verify with them to say, are you implementing this? You are running a competition. Malawian Airlines is running a competition. Please verify with a reliable source. Makla is distributing free data. Please verify with Makla before you trust the process. Because in the end, the moment you trust, you realize your money is gone. Use two-step verification where it is possible. It's also called multi-factor authentication. This helps you in the event that someone maybe has seen your password or your private PIN, then the second authentication cannot always be seen. So this acts like a controller. So let us prefer using multi-factor authentication as opposed to one-factor authentication. The practices are many, as you can see. I cannot exhaust all, but I'll share this. I'll share this slide to just to remind you. But if you want more tips, you can go on this website, www.getsafeonline.org. If you want more tips on cyber hygiene. Now, having discussed cyber hygiene, I think I should give two examples that are bothering the community, the society today. The first one is fake news, and the second one is online fraud. So how are they related to issues of cyber hygiene? Fake news is related to issue of cyber hygiene because if you remember, one of the practices that I encouraged you to follow was to ensure that you be responsible for what you post online. That's a cyber hygiene tip. Now, in the event that you have received some communication which you are not sure about, and you have just shared it, whatever consequences will follow, you're going to be personally responsible. It will not be an excuse for you to say, I just received from this group, because it's your responsibility to check and verify. So fake news is cannot have one definition. It can be fake information, misinformation, or disinformation. Or it can be content that was true, but it has been manipulated. Or it can be parody account, zigoba. Right? It can be authentic material used in wrong context. Sometimes it will be proper information, authentic information, legitimate, but the context has been deliberately twisted just to make you believe in the story. Sometimes it can be impositor, new sites designated to look like legitimate sites. Sometimes it can be from fake news sites. So all these are fake news. So beware of fake news. How do you deal with them? Verify before sharing. Read beyond the headline. Sometimes the headline will be nice. We'll talk about something else, but the content will be different. You should also use fake news verification tools, such as Snopes.com, which researches rumors and false stories. So just log it there and check. You find that, this is a fake news, because usually these stories, they do repeat. You should also do a self-fact check online. You can check the main facts in the story, check other links that are legitimate to verify if the story is true. You can also read reports and check if it has been identified elsewhere as a fake news. Excuse me. If found to be fake, please do not share. But reality is, you just receive and you want to break the news. You want to be Zodiac. So let us avoid. We avoid to these pitfalls. Another demonstration of bad cyber hygiene practices is the issues of social engineering. I'll give an example of mobile money fraud. I'll give you smart tips and how, as Magla, we are intervening. Social engineering was explained as a process where they manipulate your line of thinking to steal from you. All these you receive, the SMSs that we receive from mobile money fraudsters, university registrar, Togo talked about university registrar, asking money through Mpamba. Sometimes you wonder to say, how can the whole university get a payment through Mpamba, not have it without having a bank account? Border parcels. I'm a driver from Kadodo Transport. I'm at the border of your parcel from South Africa. You don't have a relative in South Africa, but you still believe and send money for redeeming that parcel. Illegal SIM swap is also a form of mobile money fraud. This is where you receive a text that your SIM is being swapped. And what the companies did, like TNM and Airtel, they put a security measure to say you should choose an option of stop if you are not the one who is initiating the SIM swap, or lega in Chijewa, stop. Sometimes they impersonate mobile network operators, call centers. So all these forms are forms of mobile money fraud. So what can we do to avoid this? Because it has been emphasized that cybersecurity starts with us. It's our responsibility. We are the #1 guard for ourselves. So first of all, there is what we call SMART tips. SMART is an abbreviation. SMART tips. SMART is an abbreviation. The S stands for share. Do not share a PIN information to anyone. PIN is private. Make sure you don't share, even to your mother, even to your sister, even to your brother, even to the boyfriend or girlfriend. Don't share that PIN. Do not meet or interfere with strangers on phone. If I'm calling you from a strange number, what I'm talking about is something you don't know about, just cut the phone and block me. If I'm legitimate, I'll come through legitimate means. So if it's about these fraudsters, the moment to block them, it means we are also discouraging them. Accept. The A stands for accept. Do not accept strange callers or SMSs. There are others. I don't know why we get excited to talk with everyone we found online. So let us only talk with people we know about or answer messages that we know about. Reliable, it's not everything, it's not every call, not every SMS, not every link that you see that is reliable. Some of them are scams, many of them are scams, and we have seen it all. In the end, we blame, Airtel is not protecting us. Makla is not protecting us, but we are let us be the security personnel for ourselves. It starts with us. Lastly, tell. To tell stands for report to someone, police, or of any suspicious experience. Of course, the problem we have as human beings, we get tempted because the money is involved. The moment we think that if I tell Mr. Mlenga about this issue, it means we are going to share the money that I'm receiving. By the time you realize that you should have told Mr. Mlenga the money is gone. So what is Magla doing? Magla has made several interventions. These interventions are divided into 5 aspects. The first aspect is awareness. Awareness, we believe that knowledge is power. We empower you with knowledge on these tips that we are doing. We believe that it is going to lessen this flood. So if awareness fails, we go for collaboration. Collaboration, this is where we are working, cooperating with other organizations of similar mindset to deal with this vice. At the moment, we have formed what we call Mobile Money Prevention Task Force, which Magla is a secretariat. It has got the Central Bank, the Reserve Bank of Malawi. It has got police. It has got prison. It also has NRB, because most of the abuse is through registration. So NRB is the one that issues registration cards. It also has Malawi prisons. Malawi prisons, because this is the hub of these vices. These are the core centers for these vices. And we have also incorporated Financial Intelligence Authority, because we have noted that these people, they are making huge investments from these floods. So to discourage them, we have incorporated FIA so that they should be able to trace the proceeds of these crimes, so that maybe one day these people will be discouraged. So these are form of collaborations that we are doing. The third intervention is in form of systems. We have bought systems. We have what we call Central Equipment Identity Register, which is a system that will be blocking handsets that are involved in mobile money fraud. At the moment, the system only blocks SIM card that is involved in mobile money fraud. But they are quickly replacing the SIM card using the same handset and continue perpetrating the vice. To avoid this, we are saying, let us block the handset, because it's easier to replace a SIM card than to replace a handset. So in our thinking, in our wisdom, we think that we're going to reduce this. We have also what we call revenue assurance system, which is also helping to detect how much revenue flows are going through the operator system. Despite that this system is for revenue, it's also helping us to detect numbers that are frequently calling people. Maybe within a minute, they are calling 100 people. So once it's noted, we have put threshold, which we are collaborating with the operators to say, once you note a number like this, this should be blocked, because it's a red light. It's a red light. And we have also put legal or legislative intervention. I think Togo yesterday mentioned about SIM card registration regulations. We have drafted them, and they have put limits in terms of how many SIM cards a person can own. This will be reduced to 10. 10 SIM cards per person. The reason is the SIM card is not only for the phone. There are so many smart devices that also require usage of SIM cards. Now with the digital economy, even a fridge will be using a SIM card. There are so many devices that will be requiring SIM cards. So if you have a TNM number, you have an Airtel number, you'll be allowed to only to 10 numbers. Anything beyond that, it will be criminal unless Magla authorizes. It will also require real-time verification of your identity when you are registering. So the system is going to interface with NRB system, so that the moment you are registering your SIM card, if you bring an ID in the name of Kerias Mlenga, the fingerprint that you are using to register, it will send a query to NRB system. If the NRB says this is not Mr. Mlenga's fingerprint, then the registration is not going to go through. because we noted that there was a mismatch. My IDs of people were being abused. So with that system, we feel that we're going to arrest this abuse. So these are just a few interventions, a few features that are in this regulation. And it has also classified kind of legislation for children, for foreigners, for visitors, for refugees and asylum seekers, as well as companies and government institutions. So this is what we are doing. We are also doing capacity building. We do trainings for prosecutors, investigators, and we also facilitate for our esteemed judicial officers in issues of cyber crimes, so that in the end, they should be aware of what is happening internationally. In conclusion, cyber hygiene is a shared responsibility. It's for you, it's for me, but it starts with you. Cyber hygiene starts with you. So the me there is the me, cyber hygiene for Mr. Mlenga. So for you, it's for you. Cyber hygiene, together we can defeat issues of data breach, data losses, which can lead to financial, legal, psychological, or fatal consequences, sometimes even reputation. And lastly, together we can ensure that our systems, networks, and data are safe. Let fake news and cyber crimes not thrive. But for this to happen, it starts with us. Thank you very much for being a wonderful audience. If there are questions, they are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother, for a great presentation. So well presented in a way that as lay people we can understand. I have a few thoughts that I wanted to share with the audience in addition to what you said. One of the things that I've noticed, and it's not just about Malawi, and I'm not criticizing anybody in terms of what they're doing, but this is based on my experience across Africa and many other countries, including my own country in Kenya, is the fact that we keep on talking about cyber hygiene, cyber essentials. We talk about formulation of laws and policies without developing detailed standards to underpin these policies. In public sector, for example, we have a lot of government agencies that interconnect. Yet you don't have cybersecurity baselines that define the minimum security standards that all the deployments of technology must meet to achieve a minimum level of acceptable security. To me, that is a challenge because the policies that we talk about, the laws that we talk about are so generally stated as to guide somebody to implement, to achieve the objective that they were intended to. The second thing is lack of cyber hygiene or cyber essential packs for different audiences or categories of consumers. We're talking about home users. Their cyber hygiene pack should be different from a small, medium enterprise, from a large corporation, from a school. So we need to develop those kind of packs that address different categories of consumers and be specific in terms of the advisories that we release, for example, from Accra to these consumers, what specifically they need to do to secure their online identity. The third point I wanted to put across is that I think we need to make this kind of sessions more regular so that they are not just things that we talk about at conferences like this or during the month of October when we talk about the, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. They should be part and parcel of our life. Can you integrate, for example, as the Ministry of ICT, talk with the Ministry of Education so that you can actually integrate these programs as part of the school program from elementary levels, so that as children grow up, from their formative stages, this becomes integrated and it becomes part of their DNA. I think that is something that is lacking. It is something that we need to do, and I'm not saying it is just Malawi. I'm saying Africa, we need to wake up. We need to start taking these things seriously, because you now have children 2 years old, they're using technology, and yet you don't even know what they're looking at. And finally, the element of collaboration in terms of regional. You know, cybersecurity issues are borderless. An issue originates here, and it extends to the region and beyond the region. So we need also to form and actively collaborate with our partners within the region, and in this case, starting with SADC, ECOWAS, the East African Community, and the AU, so that we actually are able to collaborate on cybercrime. When these things do happen, we need to be able to know who in the other region, the next region, you should be able to contact to try and contain this, or notify them ahead of time that this has happened, be aware you could be the next victim. Thank you very much.
Yeah, maybe I can take these issues because they're compounded. That one person asked so many questions, so I should attempt to address, then we'll come to you. Yes, I wanted to comment, like on the initiatives that we are doing. Firstly, you talked about the issue of standards not put in place to complement this talk, these laws, these policies. In terms of government of Malawi, we have two initiatives that I'll mention, but my colleagues can come in. We have a department that is responsible for e-government. It's supposed to coordinate issues of standards in terms of electronic provision of service using electronic means. And this means that all the public service is supposed to be supported by the e-government department. However, in terms of security, we have the SET, the Computer Emergency Response Team. It helps to, it acts as a center or a hub of dealing with cyber security issues. And in one of its endeavors, it's supposed to facilitate the formation of sets in particular sectors. So if it's banking, they'll form their own set. Financial set or banking set. If it's in security, they'll form security institutions, police, army, national intelligence, NIS. They're going to form their security set as well, and so on. Academic, they also have their own set, and these have been set up already. I think set is on the move. They may wish to come in as well after I've made the attempt to explain. Now, in terms of collaboration at regional level, I agree with you, and we are already doing it with within SADC as CLASA, Communication Regulators Association of Southern Africa. The issue of mobile money fraud and how to combat it is a part of the current, it's a live agenda as you are speaking, because we also consider the borderless nature of this issue of cyber crimes. And in terms of international front, I think yesterday a mention was made that we are reviewing our cyber security law to split it into issue-specific laws, like cyber crimes and e-evidence on its own, cyber security on its own. And one of the new features that we're introducing is alignment with the Budapest Convention, which is a European Council of Europe Convention on cyber crimes and electronic evidence. The significance of that convention is that it will encourage us, it will help us, give us leeway to cooperate internationally. It will be acceptable in other countries because of the borderless nature of cyber crimes. So these are the steps that we are taking as a country in terms of aligning with your thoughts in terms of collaboration, standard setting, as well as focus on particular sector. But maybe Togo and Christopher, you may wish to come in to beef up the response before we take the next question. Is Togo around? And Chris. You okay? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I think you can go to the next question.
Thank you very much for the comments. In fact, mine is not really a question, but rather to fortify what you've already said and to give you the Botswana context. As BOCRA, which is the communications regulator, right now the national set is under us. Now what we do, because I also lead the directorate that deals with compliance, so together with the set team, we have come up with the minimum cybersecurity postures that we want to see with our ISPs. So because we license them, we're now able to go and monitor, advise, and teach them as to what we expect to see as the minimum posture that they need to have, because remember, they are the link to many individuals having access to internet. So we're starting from that perspective, being fully alive of the fact that you might go to individual, but the greatest outreach is if you start at source. So that is the strategy that BOCRA is currently using when we're now dealing with issues of cybersecurity on that end, together with the SET team. Now, when we're now talking about the schools, BOCRA, through the Universal Access and Service Fund, has been responsible for ensuring this broadband connectivity in underserved and unserved areas. But instead of just taking the broadband there, part of our structure is to ensure that IT officers are also employed in those schools. And when we do the rollout, the SET team also goes to do awareness. Now this awareness is reaching primary school, junior schools. We also have continuous awareness through SET of various stakeholders, whether they CIIs or other organizations. Just last week, we had another workshop on issues of cybersecurity. Also, as the compliance team, we also break it down to our consumers. We use various social media platforms, understanding that at the end of the day, our consumers are wide, understanding is different. So we peg our message on different platforms at different levels, and even the local language, because knowledge is power, good people, and we understand the role that we need to play as regulators, but we do it in conjunction with those who are actually providing the service. So yes, we are doing it collectively, collaboratively, and beyond CRASA, our institutions are actually getting into specific memorandums of agreement, specifically on collaboration in SET. We've done it with Namibia, we've done it with it because we understand that cybersecurity is for all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I also just want to add, because you reminded me when you were responding, that I think the question that my brother from Kenya, regarding the institutionalization of cybersecurity issues right away from young age. As MAGLA, we have a project under Universal Service Fund as well, where we are calling it Connected School, where we want to train young ones right away from primary school to ensure that they should know issues of computer. And we have also facilitated, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, the review of curriculum for primary school as well as secondary school to incorporate issues of knowledge of cybersecurity issues, computer issues, while they are still young in primary school. In the past, for me to know a computer, I needed to be a computer science student at the university. At the time I was going to university. For me to type, it had to take time. But nowadays, the young ones, they're knowing the computer at an early age. So to reflect reality on the ground, MAGLA has initiated that the curriculum be reviewed. And I think this September, they'll be studying the new curriculum. I think because schools are opening in mid-September, they'll be using that curriculum under the Universal Service Fund. We initiated that. And we have also inculcated like training, connected TTC, Teachers Training College, so that the teachers themselves, those who share the knowledge to the children should also have an understanding of computer science subjects. So that's the initiative that we are doing. Thank you very much for reminding me on that one.
Thank you, Councillor Mlenga. With time, I think we'll let you go. A big hand for Councillor Mlenga. He's still around. So if you want to get any specifics from his presentation, he's more than happy to answer your questions. I've worked with him and I know how passionate he's about cyber hygiene. So please feel free to meet him during the health break as well. Now let me give Eugene 2 minutes. He wants to show us a link for our competition in the afternoon for our students. Eugene.
Hello? Who brought their laptop? I need more. Who brought their laptop? Raise your hands high. Okay. Okay, so the link will be shared for the competition landing page. But what I wanted you all to do right now is sign up for the Cyber Talents platform. So you won't be able to compete unless you sign up for this platform. So what you have to do, you need to go on to register. I've already clicked the link here. You need to register all your details, your names, if you're employed, your employer, if you're in school, university name, surname, email, residency, country, and so forth. Then when you get to when you get to the competition page, you will find, as you can see in the URL, women and girls in cybersecurity under the competitions URL. So you can't enroll yet because I have to share a code with you later once the event starts. But what I want you guys to do is sign up for the Cyber Talents platform, as you see on my screen here. So the time it starts is only is at 13:40. So there is a description here to tell you what's going to be in the CTF as well as the rules. You will not be able to cheat in this CTF. I will know. I will know. You're not allowed to use any brute force attacks on the. You're not allowed to use any brute force attacks on the challenges, and you aren't allowed to share the flags or the points with anyone else, as they are unique to yourself. There is a WhatsApp group. You can click here. There's a WhatsApp group for support if you have any questions and challenges, and the Cyber Talents team and I will assist you. Thank you. So just remember, register, and then I'll share the link and the code.
I hope it's clear.
Are there any questions?
All right, maybe we take one question on how he can clarify.
Yes, cybertalents.com. Oh, you can't see?
They can't see the link.
Okay. So what I'll probably do you have a WhatsApp group you're all part of, or Facebook, Discord? I can then invite you all to the WhatsApp group, the support WhatsApp group.
Okay, Eugene,
Yes.
you can share the link with our technical team and they'll generate a QR code for that one.
Okay.
So we'll share the link once he shares with our technical team and we'll beam it so that you can register. Is that fine? Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, let's get right into our next agenda item. Our next presenter is Mr. Boniface Mandele. Mr. Boniface Mandele is the CEO of Article 3. This is an organization that deals with children. Mr. Mandele was very instrumental when we were developing the National Child Online Protection Strategy. He works very closely with children, and he was part of the task force that was entrusted to come up with this national strategy for Malawi. Mr. Mandele will present on child online protection and how we women can be champions of this. I hope we'll all be listening attentively to this one. I think, as Mr. Mandele will highlight in his presentation, children nowadays, as early as 7, I think even our DG had said that even when you go to the village, you show a child a phone, they'll know where YouTube is, they'll click it, and will start to browse. So we need to ensure that these children are protected. So Mr. Mandele will highlight how we as women can ensure that our children are safe online. Mr. Mandele, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. While we are waiting for the technology, my name is Boniface Mandele, and my presentation is basically looking at the role of women when it comes to the protection of children online. And as well, we're also going to look at, just to add what Bwana Kerias has done when it comes to get safe online. For the past 2 days, we have been focusing on the technical part. Now we are looking at the issues of behavior. One of participants raised that we needed to do especially the hygiene on everyday basis when it comes to online child protection. So my presentation will look at defining who is a child, because it's very important to define a child. We are only focusing a child, while the other presenters was looking at the technical issues to do with the cyber. But we cannot talk about children without looking at the situation of children in Malawi in general. We're also going to look at when it comes to the figures and statistics. I mean statistics and the situation of children when it comes online. I'm also going to look at the regional and the national legal framework. What are the bases that we are as a country when it comes to protecting children? We're also going to look at the issues that affect children, be it positive or negative when it comes to online, as well as to where we need to go to report in the event that a child has been abused online or we need to get information. Malawi, just like any other countries, we define a child as a person below the age of 18. Ngati muli anthu adzaka zosapitilira 18 munomu ndino ana, and you need the care and protection. It's good to know also that the Constitution of the Republic of Malawi, especially Article or Section 23, it guarantees the protection of people below the age of 18. Also, Malawi look at the issue of consent, and the focus on consent is to do with the, especially on sex-related activities, relationship, as well as other areas. And a person below the age of 18 cannot give consent. and ifeyo ngati azmayi, we need at least to understand that Malawi look at a person below the age of 18 as a person that cannot give consent. The overview of online child protection will only focus on providing online safety tips and making sure that the perpetrators of online child abuse are reported. We need to report all cases of abuse for children when it comes to online. The same also to ensure that the children enjoy a safe and secure experience online. The DG on the first day clearly indicated that today's world, you cannot stop children to use internet. You cannot stop children to use phones. How are we going to make sure that the children are safe when they have got phones, when they're using phones, and when they are on internet? On the same is to avoid children becoming victims of crime or other exploitation and harms. Mr. Mulenga has also mentioned issues of trafficking in persons, has also mentioned on the different abuses that are happening. Children can equally also be perpetrators. How are we going to make sure that the children are not the victim, at the same time are not perpetrators? But also to avoid the children and young people, the youth and individuals with the confidence to use the internet safely and secure. That's all what we want to see at the end of. When it comes to the situation of children in general, Malawi is a youthful nation. 54% of our population are people below the age of 18. Tikamapanga ntchito zathu ngati dziko tikumbukire kunena kuti anthu ochuluka mdziko muno ali osapitirira zaka 18. So the majority of our population is people below the age of 18, 54%. The 2013 VAX study indicated that every 3, at least 2, have experienced violence in their childhood. So next year, it will be 10 years. 2026, as a country, we will need to have another violence study. I think issues of online children will be included in that VAX study, because the 2013, the issues of online children was not captured. We are also saying, as a situation, 1 in every 5 girls were sexually abused before the age of 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 of them at least experienced sexually abused before they reaching the age of 18. While boys, it's 1 in every 7. 40% of girls and 64% of boys suffer physical abuse during their childhood. Also, the facts show that the family level, nearly 1 in every 3 children are physically abused by an adult family members, and at school, peers are frequently perpetrators of physical abuse. So at home, parents, siblings, and others are major perpetrators of child abuse. When it comes to online, it's very good to make reference to the study or the report of the Ministry of Information that is giving us the figures or the position of the country. Put it to the bad when it comes for people below the age of 18 to use the internet. So we are saying, looking at the total number, the sample, we are saying about 4% of the children have an access to the internet. And there is an increase from 2.5 that was recorded in 2019. So at least as a country, we are making progress. In terms of the urban, has a higher population comparing to the rural population. In terms of the nearly 70% of the children can connect to the internet by themselves. So 70% of that 4% of the total sample, at least they can connect by themselves, while 21% reported that they can connect to the internet with the assistance of family members. At least that's good, because the parents or family members, they are the ones that they need to take an active role when it comes to the connectivity of internet. While 9.5% of children require assistance from their friends and someone else. This one is dangerous. We don't need our children to connect on the internet from their friends, because we don't know what the intention. We are also saying the most users or the application, their website, I think a lot of people shared on that. While 57% of children use their own profiles on social media and gaming sites. And 19.2% of children use the profile of their parents. While 16.5% who use their friends or relatives profile, ndemukoza kunkaniza mwana wanu phone, kutasa kale ndi phone, komazigwiritsa ntchito phone ya anzake, oladzigwiritsa ntchito phone ya amedi kunyumba, you have a very limited responsibility as parent to monitor that. About 31% of children have met someone face to face for their first to go to know over the internet. Mr. Mlenga also shared that it's dangerous. So the 31% of people interviewed in 2023 indicated that. Continue on the situation of children. We are saying that 23% of children encountered or disturbing or upsetting online experience, while 46% of children do not report incidents that bother them to anyone. Yes, Malawi, like next week, we are